Everyone. Welcome back to No Time for Neutral. I'm your host, Georgia Hawthorne.
And I'm Andy.
And Andy, it's snowing in Great Falls. There's been like 2 inches that have come down today, and I wasn't expecting it, but I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, we can use the moisture. It's about time
Yeah,
we get some winter around here.
that was the warmest January in my memory. Anyway, folks,
Been truly weird. Yeah.
there is a lot of chatter online, in papers, pretty much everywhere about the SAVE Act. And there's a lot of things going around that are not true, are misconstrued, and I just want to like fully lay out the record here. Andy, I'm
Right.
sure you've seen some of this. It's basically voter suppression.
I figured as much. You know, if it's led
Like,
by the Republicans, it's going to be some sort of form of voter suppression. They're not actually coming
naturally.
to save us.
No, of course not. So the House passed the SAVE Act last week or the week before recently. And if the Senate passes the same version, you will only be able to register and cast your ballot if you can produce a passport or a birth certificate. In the bill language, those are the only two acceptable documents that prove your citizenship. Yes, they made everyone get real ID. Yes, it has the fun little citizenship star. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The federal government, who made you get it in the first place, now says it doesn't work to actually prove your citizenship. Your normal driver's license doesn't work either.
That's wild. So only passport or birth certificate.
Right.
Two things we don't typically carry around with us every
Yeah. I
day.
don't think I started like I don't think my mom gave me my birth certificate to like have of my own accord as an adult until I was like it was like my senior year of college.
Right. It's one of those things like our moms keep in a dresser drawer and don't bring it out
No,
unless
right.
you need it for paperwork.
Right. Like it's not something that I just like have laying around. And like yes, I have it, but it's not like it's necessarily accessible to me all of the time.
Yeah.
Um But the real crux of the issue here is that so you can get a passport or you can have your birth certificate. Birth certificate, obviously, that proves you were born here in the United States. Um, which coming from the guys who now say that birthright citizenship isn't a thing, I've got plot holes everywhere.
Yeah.
Anyways, or you can have your passport, which proves you're a citizen because you have to go through like leaps of paperwork and documentation to prove it. And the issue here is that 21 million Americans don't have access to a birth certificate or a passport, or at least immediate access, like college students or truck drivers or like just people who are away from home. 69 million married women who changed their last name, they're now going to have to produce multiple documents because if you don't have a passport and you have a birth certificate, but you changed your last names don't match.
Right.
And they're not going to accept that as proof
Right.
because
So
your
this
name.
is actually like discriminatory towards married women
Yeah.
because it's like another step, like the birth
Mhm.
certificate is not going to work for them, period.
No, right. And I'm unsure if you can just bring your marriage license. That's how most things usually work, is that you can have one copy, another copy in your marriage license. I'm not taking my chances with these guys. Like they're gonna take every reason to to unroll you, to prevent you from registering, to prevent your ballot from being counted.
Hmm.
Military ID won't work, tribal ID won't work, student ID won't work.
Wow.
Also like accidents happen, natural disasters happen, documents
Mhm.
get lost.
Yeah.
That's just a fact of life.
Right. We have multiple forms of ID in this country for a reason, you know?
Right.
Like, why make it this complicated? I think, like, on its surface, they're trying to make it seem easier. Like, this is not easier for anybody.
No.
And frankly, like, less than half of the country has a passport.
Correct.
Most people in the United States actually don't have a passport. So there's another problem.
And passports are expensive.
Yeah.
Like they cost like $200 or something like that if you like haven't had one before. Like to get a brand new passport,
Right.
it's 200 bucks. And I was doing the
That's why
math on,
most people don't have one.
right, I was doing the math on this. If you make federal minimum wage, which is $7.25, and frankly, all like government math should be done off of federal minimum wage.
Hmm.
It takes 28 hours of work just to be able to apply to get a passport in order to be able to vote if you're on
Wow.
minimum wage.
Wow.
Over half your week at work would be just to get a passport to exercise your right to vote. Not
Mm,
including like paying the bills or anything like that, because you know everything's so cheap and everything's so easy because the economy's so great.
right. Yeah, it's just another step to make it more inequitable
Mm-hmm.
and non-accessible to the everyday person
Mm-hmm.
to partake in a practice that everybody in this country above the age of 18 should have the opportunity to do
Mm-hmm.
easily, you
Because
know?
it also takes away mail-in registration. It takes away online voter registration in states that have that. You have to go in person to register. You also have to go in person to cast your ballot. So, like
Wow.
in Montana, where half of us vote absentee just because it's easier and we can, that's no longer an option.
Wow.
Everyone is standing in line. And of course, we're not making election day a federal holiday in this bill because that would make too much damn sense.
Right. Give everybody the day off so they could go vote.
Right. Or like, I don't know, the government could be like, hey, here's an ID that everyone's going to start being issued that like automatically proves your citizenship and it's free and you don't have to worry about it.
Hmm.
Like, if they want to create these hurdles, then they need to put everybody on the same playing field.
Also, which I think is kind of funny, I don't think these Republicans that are pushing this legislation realize the cracks in their bill
Mm-hmm.
that would actually come back to kick them in the ass. Like we talked about how this would disproportionately affect married women. Well,
Mm-hmm.
like statistically,
Mm-hmm.
you compare married women or women that don't change their names, single women, like the
Mm-hmm.
married woman, there's going to be more Republicans, right?
Right.
As opposed to the single woman or the woman that doesn't change her name, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Rural voters?
rural voters, the mail-in voting, like,
Yeah,
Trump's been talking about this for years, but like Montana's a red state, we've had mail-in voting forever. You know,
correct.
it's easier for rural voters to vote by mail. So like
Right.
this is
Because you're
not a
driving half
Republican.
an hour in some places,
Yeah.
if not more, to get to your elections office.
Hmm.
So, like, how are people supposed to go cast their vote if it's an hour round trip and you don't get the day off? And everyone else has to also stand in line. So you're sitting there in line for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's voter suppression, pure and simple. Like we don't want this. However, I think Republicans aren't totally thinking about the implications of what this would do to their party as well,
yeah.
which is why I'm thinking is they currently don't have the votes in the Senate.
Mhm.
Thank
Right.
goodness. And I hope they continue to not have those votes in the Senate.
I completely agree. But this is the second time we've seen it come out of the House. And they're facing a lot more pressure the second time around to do something on it. Granted, Senate Republicans tend to be more moderate than House Republicans. That's the whole point of the institution.
Hmm.
But we'll see. And like especially with Chrissy Jacobson and her sending out our information to the federal government, like there are very real threats to voter registration and casting ballots this year, especially if you lean Democrat. And I need you guys to be checking your voter registration like often. And I know that's
Yeah.
kind of annoying, but it takes like 30 seconds. If you go to voterportal.mt.gov, just asks you to put in your first name, your last name, and your birthday, and it will pop up your voter registration status. And you want to make sure that stays active. If you move, you got to re-register as soon as possible in case there's any headaches. I know it's a pain in the ass, but they don't get to behave like this just because they're the ones in power and we roll over and take it. Not an option, folks.
So that's voterportal.mt.gov.
Yep. Voterportal.mt.gov. and you can look up yourself. Like as long as you know a first, a last name, and a birthday, you can look pretty much anyone's status up. I check my friends and family all the time because I can do that for them and they don't have to worry about it. So if you'd like to check your partner or your sister or whoever, you can let them know too because it takes a village. Um, but in other news, Montana's been in too many headlines lately, Andy,
Uh-oh.
for my personal taste. But let's start with our lovely governor. You remember when he tried to
Greg.
starve people in November because he was throwing a hissy fit? Me too.
Right. That was the thing. Take away
Um,
SNAP from the people that needed it.
well, now he's investigating the city of Helena, him and our Attorney General, Austin Knudsen. Um, which just from the jump, these are the same guys who are like, abortion is a states' rights issue. We should let locals control local decisions. Like
Yeah.
those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the city of Helena recently passed a resolution saying that local officials were not going to cooperate with federal law enforcement like ICE and Border Patrol. City Commission heard public comment for hours from Helenans about how basically that they feared the same mass goons from Minneapolis were going to find their way here. And Helena, of all places, has good cause. A man was arrested last summer in Helena because agents racially profiled him. And so that's all of the background context to this resolution. And now Gianforte and Knudsen are opening up an investigation into the city of Helena about whether or not this resolution violates a 2021 law banning sanctuary cities.
Wow.
And so the city says that its resolution abides by local, state, and federal law. The resolution says that the city will not disclose sensitive information about any person to outside agencies or individuals, including a person's immigration status or national origin, except as required by local law or with a valid court order.
Right.
And props to the city of Helena. All Here's all of my round of applause. You guys are killing it. This is what it takes.
Yep.
This is our model. Um, because yeah, that you don't get to cry states' rights and local control for a decade. And then when all of a sudden you want your freaking armed paramilitary in the streets, all of a sudden it's whatever you say goes. No, 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 no,
Yeah.
no, no, no.
It's hypocrisy at its finest.
Yeah. I mean, it's baffling. Like, it shouldn't be at this point because, like, of course they're doing this. But just the constant doubling back on themselves and not seeing it in the slightest is so absurd.
Hmm.
And I'm sure Austin Knudsen has his sights set on something higher than AG
Oh,
coming
I'm sure.
soon. Like, we'll see what that ends up being, but like, he's not going away anytime soon.
No.
Gianforte's termed out. We'll see what he does if he chooses to do anything after that. But I don't think Knudsen is done.
No. No. They want to keep consolidating their power and taking control over local governments, apparently, which you're right. Like the Republican Party forever has been all about local control. And this is like totally infringing on the rights of local municipalities like Helena to determine how they govern their cities. It doesn't make sense.
Like,
And it's all because
remember?
they want to keep with Trump's agenda to
Yeah.
allow these ICE agents to come through to pick up the brown people that aren't necessarily criminals. Like, just to remind folks, Trump told voters that he was going to deport the criminals,
The worst of the
the
worst.
worst of the worst, those who are here illegally with a criminal record. 92% of people that have been deported do not have a criminal record.
That's it. Like, they're just doing this because they're racist assholes, frankly. I'm running out of other ways to phrase it nicely.
Hmm.
Um, but do you remember during the pandemic when city councils and mayors were like, oh no, we're not enforcing the mask mandate. We're choosing not to do that. And we can do that because local control.
Right.
Uh,
Very
okay,
valid
what
point.
is the difference? Someone please explain to me what the difference is. But Andy, we have specifically one Montanan that I'd like to talk about today, and it's not actually any of our elected officials. His name is Jeremy Carl.
Hmm.
He's from Bozeman, and he's also a white nationalist.
That guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
He served as a deputy assistant secretary of the Interior in the first Trump administration when,
Under Zinke?
yeah, under Ryan Zinke.
Oh.
So Zinke was this guy's boss in the first Trump term. And then after the first Trump term, he was later appointed to the Humanities Montana Board by Governor Greg Gianforte. And now he's up for a senior gig at the State Department, like
Got
the
it.
department that deals with all of our international affairs.
Wow.
You want to go through the list of some of the things he's said in recent years?
Yeah, from what I've heard, it's not real good.
No, 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 no. Not the person I would pick to represent Montana for literally anything. Um, but some of his crazy. He wrote a whole book on anti-white racism and how it's destroying America.
A whole book.
A whole book.
Wow.
He believes in replacement theory, which is this whole conspiracy that the Democratic Party is supporting illegal immigration to bring them all in, register them to vote illegally so that Democrats can win elections.
Wow.
So he believes in that. Good start. He said January 6th prisoners had it worse than Black Americans during Jim Crow.
Ugh, such bullshit.
Like when
Wow.
thousands of people were getting like burned and lynched and killed and
Yeah. Ugh.
okay, sure,
Wow. What a piece
sure.
of garbage.
He said feminism led to a downfall in American society.
Okay.
Hey, buddy, you would hate me. Um, he said that the Civil Rights Act warped our culture and that the US should be a white Christian nation.
Oh my God.
And then this is the last one, and it's a
My ears are
direct quote.
bleeding.
Direct quote. Jews have loved to play the victim. The Holocaust dominates so much of modern Jewish history. Jews love to see themselves as oppressed. Direct quote from Jeremy Carl.
What a terrible, awful, horrible person.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And I think the worst part is that like so this is just his vibe. Like I'm sure there are I could have gone on about crazy things he said for an hour. But he's tweeted 850 times since his nomination was announced last year.
Gross.
And he's not scared because he knows his bosses agree with him. This is getting him brownie points.
Mm. How embarrassing for the state of Montana. Like that, I feel sick to my stomach what you just read. Like, uh, to even think that there's people walking this earth that have those feelings and sentiments and beliefs, just, uh,
And what
makes
really
me sick.
pissed me off about all of this is like, okay, sure. Like, this guy sounds like him and Trump would be best friends. It makes sense why he's being nominated for whatever. Steve Daines sits on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, which this nomination has to go through first. And so Daines introduced Jeremy Carl at his hearing last week. Um, and what did he have to say about Mr. Carl? He had to say that they were both from Bozeman and they both admired Ronald Reagan
Wow.
and that he was smart. And like,
Wow.
frankly, he might as well have like kicked every single Montanan in the teeth by like pretending as if any of us would condone any of that.
Well, there you go, folks. Just another reason not to vote for Daines in this next election and
Literally.
to make sure that he doesn't step foot back in the Senate after November's elections. Like if he's actively going to support a supremacist, racist, horrible human.
Yeah. So if you want to call Danes, his phone number is 202-224-2651. And my message would be that Jeremy Carl is not a representation of Montana, that he's a danger to this country, and that advancing his nomination would be a disgrace to the state that Daines claims to represent. Because
Yeah, that's some real bullshit.
like
Gross.
literally, like we have Montanans that have like been in federal office and worked in the government, like Mike Mansfield, Lee Metcalf. Like we
Mike
have,
Mansfield was big in the civil rights movement.
yeah, we have history
Yeah,
in these things.
we had some great leadership from Montana, and like this is what we got now. It's infuriating.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't imagine being, some of the older folks today, like those who lived through the 60s, 70s, 80s, and saw some incredible leadership like Mike Mansfield and Lee Metcalf,
Mhm.
and those that actually like paved the way to create a more inclusive society. And now we're seeing people like this dumb shit like get recommended for these leadership positions who are like reminiscent to literal Nazis
Mhm.
of World War II. Like this is, I know history repeats itself, but this is disturbing. Pay
Yeah.
attention, people.
Yeah. 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 But if you have nothing to do on March 7th and you'd like a party to go to and you'd like to help get Democrats elected, I have an event for you.
Oh, we like events.
We do like events. Folks, it's Mansfield Metcalf season. Um, it's gonna be March 7th in Helena. That's a Saturday. And we recently announced our keynote speaker, and we're gonna have Senator Ruben Gallego in from Arizona to talk to all of us about how to win in rural places, how to win when it's tough. And I think it'll be really good for all of us to get together ahead of what's gonna be a hell of a season. Candidates for all of our federal races will also be in attendance and they'll have a couple of minutes to speak. So yeah, if you're down to help us get Democrats elected this year, we'd love to see you in Helena. You can go to montanademocrats.org/MM26 for more information and to purchase tickets.
Heck yeah, I love Eminem. It's one of the best nights of the year. It's a great excuse to hang out in Helena with a bunch of like-minded folks and,
Mm-hmm.
actually feel like you're doing something because every dollar goes to getting Democrats elected, which I know we're going to do this year. Like Georgie said, Ruben Gallego is our keynote speaker from Arizona. He's made waves over the last few years,
Mm-hmm.
somebody to look at and pay attention to, and I'll be excited to hear what he has to tell us Montanans. Yeah, it's going to be a great night.
It also seems as if he might be potentially throwing his hat in the ring for the 2028 presidential primary. So that'd be cool.
I've heard some rumblings. Yes.
I've seen a couple of articles and such. There's actually an article about us. It was like Gallego to headline Montana Dems event amid
Okay.
like 28 speculation. And I was like, hmm. So that will be really exciting. I think Eminem is a great cycle kickoff. We all get to be in the same room. It's a great vibe. It's an all weekend kind of party. Um,
And you'll also get to hang out, meet, and listen to all sorts of candidates running statewide, like for Congress in the Western and Eastern
yep.
districts, for Senate. They'll all be speaking at this thing. So it's a great, great opportunity to meet them, listen to them, learn what they're all about pre-primary, so you
Mhm.
can pick your favorite when you go vote.
Right. It's also a great time to meet folks from other counties, from other
Mhm.
cities. If you live in Missoula and you really like what Billings is doing, it's a great time to chat with someone from Billings about how we can change things in Missoula too. Um, this is not a one person makes the decisions kind of sport, guys. So the more people we have in the room, the more minds we have working on this, the better. And it's always good food too, so that's a plus.
Yeah. And there's all sorts of other events happening prior to
Mhm.
the Mansfield Metcalf dinner. So I know like Lewis and Clark County Democrats are putting on an event earlier in the evening. A lot of the congressional and Senate candidates are hosting their own events, meet
Mhm.
and greet type of things. Um, so yeah, check them
Yeah,
out.
it's a great time. All right, Andy. Well, I think that's what we've got for the week. Call the delegation, tell them we're not putting white nationalists in the federal government, and then go purchase your Mansfield Metcalf tickets, and we'll see you in Helena. See you later. Bye.
See ya.